it starts internally, and internal growth is where it starts.
Yeah.
So, and I love the different things that you've shared. Where does it go next? I'm now internally, and I realize this is not something that happens one-off and then you've made it. This is just the foundation. The foundation is constant personal growth. That is what I'm hearing. Now, what happens next in this process of being a Dolly? And being a Dolly, again, I love how you defined it. So what's the next stage in this?
So the next step is getting the right circle. You get the right people around you. So you're growing, you identify them, and then you come together and you grow together.
Let me ask this question, because a lot of people say get the right people around you. It sounds easy, it sounds nice. And there's nobody I know who doesn't want the right circle of friends around them. Help break down, for example, what is it that you did to get the right people or friends around you? One, I can already hear you've already given you. Like begets like. So you, personal growth automatically attracts a certain kind of people.
Yeah.
But I'd like to hear now more from you. How do you get this right circle of friends around you?
Actually, that is it. Like begets like. Yeah? And that like, what matches with who you are? Value system? Even before the growth conversation. Does this person have the same value system as me? Do they even maybe have the same temperament? It's like some soft things. Because when you get these people in your inner circle, you will get moments when you're vulnerable, or they are. And it has to connect at some point. I don't know whether there's a formula for how to get that, like short list, long list, maybe a long list and then a short list and then, but you go, first of all, you have to understand yourself and bring out yourself to others the way that portrays who you really are. Because then that is what attracts what comes together with that kind of personality, not somebody else, not somebody different. Then when you have a certain journey that you've committed to, I want to grow in, I want to grow as, I want to learn. You start finding yourself in spaces where those people who also wanted that for themselves are.
Okay.
I want to grow in my spirituality. Then you'll do something. Then you'll go to a space and you'll find those people who are also on the same journey. And there you have a good pool that has been already shortlisted for you.
Okay.
Then you'll find maybe one person. Rarely will you find the 10 people from that one space. But if you do, it's a gem. Yeah, it's amazing. Then, so there's, where do you want to grow? Expose yourself into that area where you want to grow. And from there, you're likely going to get this person who will go like, this one, we kind of do life together. And then you start the journey. No forcing, it comes naturally. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you've brought this up, I want to hear now, in terms of the two of you, the beginning of this journey. Because how many years has it been?
16.
16 years of friendship, of growth, or not of sisterhood. It's beyond just friendship. I feel like it's deeper. Of even entering business ventures together. This is it's an impressive, it's an amazing journey together. Explain to me the connection that you two had. I'm taking the context where somebody has not watched Kendi CTA. So maybe Kendi, explain what it is how you met Dolly, just for context.
When you asked her, what next and how do you get those people? Sometimes a person is not able to speak to their strength, or they are blind to it. And so before I even get to how that was, I want to, what makes Dolly Dolly?
Okay.
She has such a giving spirit that any space she goes to, she is very quick to give. Naturally, what that does, for a person who is generous and giving in that sense, beyond themselves, as in she will not think about herself first, and that's why she's worked with so many lives. It draws people to her. And I say that because that's one of the biggest learnings I've gotten from relating closely with her. So for a person who's looking to be, how am I being a Dolly? I think that's a very key place to start with. That's going to a space, the giving, and as generous of themselves and open and wanting everything positive for the other person, then that in itself is the magnet that draws people. So then very easily she has the right circle around her. Then with that, then convergence of, am I seeking the same growth area, or am I also carrying that spirit of purity, a purity of heart, for lack of a better word? Then it becomes very easy for her to draw people to her. Now, back to the question you asked.
Actually, even before that, just because you've brought that up, I'd like to understand from Dolly. With that heart comes a lot of abuse. You get?
Yeah.
People with a giving heart, it's, I say people are not guarded because they woke up guarded. They're guarded because they've been hurt and they've been used and abused, and hence it's closed them up. Is Dolly still the same way?
And it's good. But when I was saying about her giving heart, the next thing I was going to say is, you will find the characters who are there to abuse that generosity.
Yeah.
But do you know what, Richie? In no time, that is exposed, because the illness of the motive or whatever on the other side, and she's been hurt, and she could speak for herself. I've seen her hurt and taken advantage of. And sometimes, now the ones who, because we are a good number of us who are around her and genuinely caring for her, we're the ones who call it out. We're like, Dolly, stop. So then we become the ears or the eyes she may not have, or the caution she may not have. So we guard her so that she carries herself, she continues to carry herself with that purity of whatever, of approach and everything. But then she also knows that we have her back. And so there's the people around her, and I say this knowing it's not just me, it's an army around her, then call it out, and we point it out, and then we make her aware or alert. She may not react immediately, but she's aware. She's alert to it, and then she observes it, then takes a step. But then we alert her of it.
Dolly, but to you, first of all, I love that, because as you get this circle around you, it is not just you for the circle, it's also the circle for you.
Yeah.
It becomes this sisterhood or friendship or brotherhood of people who are one for all and all for one.
Yeah.
But again, I want to ask, because some people do penetrate and the heart comes, how then doesn't that become foundational in putting up walls for you and therefore killing the process of how not to become a Dolly?
Yeah. So truly, I have given a lot, and I have gotten people who have maybe taken advantage of it. Over the years, what I've learned is to allow for whoever is seeking to first put in the work. I think early in my 20s, 30s, I was just giving. You know, we were raised and told, help others. Then you realize you're helping. In fact, there's a time early when my kids were young, I was doing a lot, trying to sort people out. Monday to Friday, I'm working, long days. The career is demanding, and that is anyway in the 30s when my career was, and then on Saturday mornings, I'd wake up and tell my husband, I need to go rush help. Then I'll come back by lunchtime. And before long, you realize it's this Saturday, next Saturday, the other Saturday, and it became a conversation in the home. Like, Then because he pointed it out just the same way my inner circle would point it out, is when it hit me like, okay, I also need to have time even for myself, not just for others. But then I started then putting like conditions to access that. So that you allow people to do the work. So you'd come, I would still start with the intention to help you. But then I would send you off on an assignment. Go do it. Show me that you actually are dedicated to go. Because some people you even help, they come, they have a whole conversation, and time is money, time is valuable. They still don't go and implement, So you show me put in the work, and then I'll progress. Even as I progress after, I don't give 100% or 60%, I start with 20. Oh, you did this? Yeah. Go add this too. See how it goes. Then they come back. Oh, wow, it worked. Or it didn't work for this reason. We explore that. Okay, fine. Add this and that. Remove this one. And then you would then know 2-3 attempts later who's in it for the long haul. Then we continue the journey.
Oh, that is so... Hey, gems by Dolly, peeps. So, you're speaking, and I'm then wondering, when you gave Kendi those assignments to do, when she came and approached you with an issue she had, does then that become... Okay, Kendi, give the story.
So I didn't want to interject. Yeah. So when she was speaking, I'll tell you the one thing that's been considered. I didn't even realize that's the formula. We've not spoken about that.
I've never thought about it.
Yes, but the one thing which has kept us progressing, because as you hear, I met her in my mid-20s. It is 16 years later, and we've gone from depth to depth. And the reason for that, consistently, and when I met Dolly, I was so green, especially matters. I only had ambition. What I had going for me, I had ambition and I had faith. Those are the two things I had.
That's a good place to start.
Yes. The good thing, because of who she is, she saw it. And I also wear my emotions on my face. So when I went to her and I told her about why don't I have my car allowance, which I had already dreamt of, and then she told me, but do you have a car? And then I told her no. Then she saw my defeated face because I wear it on my face. And because of her heart, what she did, she told me, sit. So she sat and started talking me through. The good thing is, I was so desperate to action on my ambition that because what she said made sense, I was like, you know what? What you've said, let me see. Let me go do it. I will do it. So I went, did it. She told me how to get a car using the allowance. I did. I went, got the car. I came, I think 2 weeks later or something. She even told me, don't start importing. So, importing is, don't even start importing. She went tactical. And this is the bank account. If you don't have an RM, I'll call the RM. This is what you do. Yeah. Then from a car, be practical, all those things. Then I came back 2 weeks later. I told her, here is the logbook. She's like, oh, you're done. Oh, fine. You see, so it kept encouraging her, and that was just the start of the conversation. So that's to say, indeed, now that I connected with yes, that was the start of a longer journey together.
Oh man, that's so powerful. So this story of the inner circle, because that's where this whole rabbit hole we went down to.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit more about attracting the inner circle. And we got here because I asked you the question of how then do you attract it? And just let's continue then with this conversation.
So first of all, you pray. Pray for, the way we say, when you're young and single, pray for the spouse. The spouse is the inner circle, right? So even this inner circle, you pray for God to place the right people in your life. Wherever it is you go, that you get connected with the right people for whatever that reason is. Yeah? And it could be that some are there seasonally. So you pray for that. Then expose yourself to the spaces where you want to grow. Because then you will find people who are on the same journey and get attracted to them. Then add value. You don't go looking for an inner circle wanting to receive. Like your key thing is they're coming for me. They're coming for me. You have to figure out, okay, I've seen Kendi. She's a real good person to have as an inner person. But then you ask yourself, how do I add value to her? Because she's going to be attracted to my inner space, circle space, because she also sees value. And this value thing now goes back to your growth. Because what can I extend to somebody who would like to come close? If I don't have it, I can't give it. Whatever that is. So add value.
I want to ask this question. The two of you seated here and people watching you, they're just thinking, wow, I like this. Oh, maybe I want this. But when Kendi came to you, she was rough around the edges.
Yeah.
It didn't come packaged in the package of an inner circle. This is 16 years in the making of this person who is now in your inner circle. Even from a age-wise, you are not exactly the same age. From a career perspective, you could see she's the one who's joining. In fact, she's coming with all sorts of problems. Speak on that. When the friendship doesn't come packaged in the way that you expect.
Yeah. So you don't go into this whole thing calculated like, I've seen her and she's going to be my inner circle person. It's not calculated. It's a journey of faith and prayer. I met Kendi as young and very innocent as she was, even innocent in her thought process about doing life. And then she kept doing and seeking and being curious and asking and doing. But the important thing was the doing part, right? And implementing, and then even seeking more than what we were talking about. And then she started adding value back to me. So what could have started as a one-way, it became a ping pong. Like, oh, this too, oh yeah, that's too, like that. Then we got separated, I think, I don't know how many years after we had started working. She left that company, HP, for Oracle. And I stayed there for some time, and then I left for GE. Then we didn't see each other for 3 years. And there was not much contact because at that time, this inner circle thing had not happened. It was somebody I knew, but somebody who was ambitious and implementing what we were talking about. And when we were not in the same space anymore, she went east, I went west, and we did our lives. Then there was an Oracle, an opening at Oracle as they were looking for a finance director. I applied for that role and I got in, and then I met her.
I didn't even know she was joining.
She didn't even know.
I didn't even know that she was coming. As in, we were not in a circle.
We were not in a circle.
Yes.
We were people who used to know each other. So I interviewed, I came, and then I found her amongst other people who I had worked with. And then again, because we had connected on investments and what you do and stuff, I called her, I told her, oh, I need you to tell me about this company. But as we do, I'm curious to know, how did your investment journey go? And that was a conversation. Kendi, you want to talk about that?
Wait, let's take a break, because when we come back, we're going to first actually have the first investment conversation that you had with her.
Right.
Which sounds a bit controversial when we talk about it. So we're coming back for that.
Cool.
Okay, let's take a break.